Hello everybody, I'm the Mr. C and this is my One Wheel Crisis. Today's video is my 900-mile review. Hard to believe I've already reached 911 miles in less than 6 months. They say that time flies when you're having fun, and I usually put 13 miles a day when I'm able to get out, and I never grow weary of riding the beast, although at 50 my knees wear out long before my determination does. I tried to do the research on knees and legs for this video, but I had to stop. There's just so many horrible things that can go wrong with your walking sticks, and I already tend to worry anyway. I don't need any extra help. Was it worth the money? Hands down, without a doubt, worth every penny and every injury, and I would do it again. As a matter of fact, I just added a pint. Why do I like one wheel? Well, I love the feeling of defying gravity as you do those long, wide cars. Also, it's exercise, but it's fun. It works the leg and the butt, and it's also a light core workout. It depends upon your style and your chosen surface, although it's like any other exercise. The more energy you put into it, etc., etc. It gets you outside and on your feet, which I'm not one to do on my own, as outside is one of my least favorite things due to pollen, respiratory, and antisocial issues. I'm in better shape than I've been in close to 30 years, down to 190 pounds from 240. It makes me focus more and keeps me in the here and now. With the one wheel, you have to constantly be aware of 10 feet in front of you, because if you don't see the bump when you're overextended bombing a hill, it can end badly for you. It makes my moods more stable when riding the one wheel. In my real life, I'm a regular depressive. The board has helped me phase shift those moods. I not always want to go out on the beast, but when I force myself to, it's a game changer. I've learned that the beast is a mirror of my own mood. If I'm not feeling it, the board will feel weird and sluggish. It kind of freaked me out at first. I thought there was something wrong with my board, but I learned that if I became mindful of the problem, the board would even out. See? Therapeutic too. Despite my distaste for a number of Future Motion's business practices, like locking down my ability to swap to aftermarket batteries should I decide to extend my range or even replace a battery normally without having to ship to California. Alternately, were I to send to California and replace my battery normally, Future Motion has a serial number locked through software, the controller, and the battery, so you can't just change one even if the other one isn't broken. So FM always charges for the cost of both parts when they should only have to repair one, as I'm to understand, Future Motion isn't currently giving broken parts back, as is prescribed by law. 900 miles, what have I learned? I like cruise mode, although cruise mode does not limit your speed as advertised. Unless I misread something, I should not be able to reach 20.1 miles per hour whilst on cruise. But it happens. Nosedives. Now, I've watched a lot of the one-wheel videos on YouTube, and one of the major complaints I hear is that the XR pushback mechanism isn't nearly robust enough. Now, for those not familiar with the one-wheel, the board has enough power to balance you and push you. There are points at which you can't go past, or you end up in a nosedive, which means that the power shuts off and the nose drops and hits whatever medium you're riding on and usually throws you from the board. These points change depending upon a few variables: what you're riding on, how fast, and how you're riding. When the one wheel reaches this point, it lets you know by lifting the nose of the board. It's affectionately known as Captain Morganing. Now, I've never been able to understand the argument. The beast lets me know quite obviously that I'm pushing my luck by rather dramatically raising the nose of the board. In all actuality, my favorite way to ride the board is in that pre-nosedive condition. It's a lot like riding a wave. And I've learned that carving is awesome in oh so many ways. It's a great way to relieve foot stress when you're on those long rides. It's a great way to tack your way up those speed-sapping hills. It's also a way to accelerate faster without having to rely so heavily upon leaning. In the same vein, carving can be used to quickly modify your speed. Also, I learned from Mr. Leary at the Float Life that you can use your body to initiate carving instead of your knees, as knees really aren't meant to be bent that way. Alternately, that carving started with the body is much more controllable. I also learned that carving kills the battery life, but what are you going to do? Disaster. A sudden calamitous event bringing great damage, loss, or destruction. The word disaster has been passed around Europe like a hot potato. The English version is most closely tied to the French désastre, which is derived from the Old Italian disastro, and itself derived from Greek. The pejorative dis and aster, meaning star, can be interpreted as a bad star or an ill-starred event. The ancient Greeks were fascinated by astronomy and the cosmos and believed wholly in the influence of celestial bodies on terrestrial life. For them, a disaster was a particular kind of calamity, the cause of which could be attributed to an unfavorable or uncontrollable alignment of planets. It is therefore interesting to note that the strict modern English definition of disaster explicitly stipulates that a disaster is human-made or the consequence of human failure. All last night it sounded like my neighbors were practicing for their part in an orchestra. I had to call the police to report domestic violins. The other day I said to number 4, "Hey, do you want to hear a really good Batman impression?" My son said, "Okay, Papa." I said, "No, not the kryptonite." My son says, "Dad, that's Superman." I said, "Thanks, I've been practicing a lot." I was practicing my puns on my friends to see if any worked, but no pun intended. The best way to help myself and my channel is by liking and subscribing. Also, sharing the bejeebus out of my videos. Well, that is it for this time. Thanks for spending the time and taking the ride. See you next time.